what's going on, everyone? And welcome back to another great epic episode of Just My Opinion Reviews. Yes, guys, we are talking about a new show that is debuting February the 27th, Tuesday on FF Networks and Hulu, titled Shogun. Yes, yes, yes. When I first saw the trailer for this, I was super duper excited, especially because, you got your boy Hiroyuki Sanada, who popped up on the scene for me all the way back in 2003 with The Last Samurai. And as far as my expectations are concerned, I kind of went into this show thinking, is this going to be like a longer version of that movie that I love with Tom Cruise? But of course, I'm going to give some commentary on that later. But guys, as you see, I am not by my lonesome. I have Miss Kimberly Curran from Southern California here to join me with this episode 1 recap. Hello, ma'am. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm so excited to talk about this show. Thanks for having me on, Brandon.
Of course, of course. Like I told you, y'all, Miss Kimberly has been sharing all of the marketing, posters, stills, all of the trailers, TV recaps of this show. And I was like, man, she's just really excited about this show, as I am, as everybody else. And so I had to, bring you in to, chop it up with you about this show because you just seemed like you had that same amount of excitement level. And so I'm really, really excited to pick your brain and see where you at with this right here. So yeah, I'm super duper excited.
Let's do it.
And
Let's go.
we will be recapping each episode each week. This episode video right now is just episode 1, titled Anjin. Destinies converge in Japan after a barbarian ship washes ashore in a poor fishing village. Meanwhile, in Osaka, Lord Tawanaga finds himself outplayed by his enemies. And guys, just to let you know, this is going to be spoiler filled. We are going to spoil this episode up, down, left, right, in, and out, as if you've already seen it. That is your warning. And if you love what me, myself, and Miss Kimberly has to say about this, please hit the thumbs up button. Please leave us a comment. Also, share the video. And whether you're watching this on my channel or Kimberly's channel, hit that subscribe button. Help us reach those next big milestones that we're trying to hit. And as well, you can follow both of us on social media. Our handles are on the screen at Just My Opinion 84 and at What's Good Kimberly. We got our cash apps at the bottom. And also, guys, you can subscribe to her channel right here on YouTube at What's Good Kimberly. She has a lot of stuff up her sleeve in store for you guys. And I can't wait for her to, release all that. But, I'll let her speak on that a little bit later. But Kimberly, like I said, I was really looking forward to this show.
Oh,
And
man.
I like how in episode 1, they just kind of throw us in and, we just have to get to know these characters with all of these foreign names. I don't mind subtitles at all. I mean, it's a great challenging read and quite dialogue heavy. But what was your first impressions like going into this? Did you like the first episode? Did it meet your expectations? Did it fall beneath those? Like, where are you at so far when you ended this first episode?
Yeah, man. So I'm a bit of a history buff. Not that I'm super knowledgeable. I'm just super curious
Mm,
about history, and so I'm so excited to learn more about Japanese culture. They have such a rich political history with their wars and the battles and the hierarchy of how they've organized their leadership and governments. It is also fascinating to me. And one of the reasons I was excited about this is that Mr. Hiroyuki Sanada, he is an executive producer on this project. And I was excited about that because he's been in so many films, obviously, as a Japanese man. But as an executive producer, you have more control in the storytelling and in all of the pieces that come together to tell the story. So I just felt like there would be more of an authenticity in this series, and they did not disappoint. They didn't disappoint. Within 10 minutes, I learned something about the history of Japan in early 1600s in terms of religion and settlers and people who are colonizing or trying to take power. I mean, within the first 10 minutes, I was like, okay, this is happening, this is happening, and this is happening. And right off the bat, I want to say it exceeded my expectations because with an amazing story like Shogun, you have an opportunity to bring in so many different elements. You've got John as Blackthorn, you've got the Portuguese, you've got the regent, the Lord of Regents. You have so many puzzle pieces, and how it gets fit together is based on whether or not this is a good show. Because you can have the setting and the pieces, you can even have fantastic actors, but if the storytelling is amiss, that's where you're ending up with the crap scores. And as we all know, it's like 97, I think, or 100 on Rotten Tomatoes. So
Mhm.
deserves it. I'm excited about it. And also off the bat, the production value is so there. The production value just, I feel like I'm just going back in time watching this awesome story unfold.
I agree with absolutely everything you said. It is a very, very high rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It's actually 100%, and I think it deserves that. And I actually love this episode too. The first time I saw it, and I got through it about one and a half times. And of course, I like you. I'm a big fan of what is his name? Hiroyuki Sanada.
Hiroyuki Shina.
I got the last name, but the first name is always trickery for me. And this is, you're right. This is actually out of all the credits that he has under his belt in his film career, his filmography, this is his first producing credit. And that says a lot. The man is over 60
That's a
years old.
lot.
And for him to be one able to come through and be like, no, I want to be in control of this, not only in front of the camera, but behind it, it will bring that authenticity to it. And like you said, it has all of that in the first 10 minutes. And I was dang near blown away. Now, we also have another main character by the name of John Blackthorn, by the name of Cosmo Jarvis. Are you familiar with him at all? I'm
You
not.
know,
This is my
I have referred to him in the past as Tom Hardy Part Two. Um, he's always the actor that when I see him, I'm like, oh shoot, Tom Hardy's in this, and then I'm like, oh wait, no, that's the doppelganger. Much respect to him. He always brings something great, but I always call him Tom Hardy Part Two.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, he's not the best of people. He's a pirate and he's trying to, lie and say he's a merchant. And we see at the very beginning of this. And first of all, I like how dark this first episode started, at nighttime with all the clouds and the dust and just it's just real eerie and all the
It's
sound effects of
visceral.
the lights and the all of that. I really liked it. But it seemed like they're on their last ship. Okay, they were surrounded by some Spaniards trying to make it over to Japan. I think they said they started out with 5 ships with over 500 men, but they're down to 1 ship with just a dozen people. And the captain, I believe, blew his head off. Like
He did. He did. He took the dishonorable way out.
he's
He's
like,
like, look, it's one thing to go camping, but you got me on a ship. like, like people are dying. Of course they had, horrible diseases and rats and the seas. My God, that scene later on in the episode where they're just hitting the rough seas, and he's like, guys, let's get it together. And he's trying to, captain the ship and help them out. What I love is that they are not romanticizing the time. This is
mhm,
not Bridgerton. They are
right.
not trying to and I like sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. I like that they're not romanticizing also Japanese culture. I think that's something that I love learning about new cultures. I love getting into other cultures and learning about other people's history, tasting other people's food. I think in terms of just freaking humanity, it's important for us to do that.
It is.
Not just our own history, but other people's history is important too. And I like that they're not just romanticizing it. They're like, look, in this time, there were certain leaders that would cut your head off in the middle of the street. And we got that about what, 25 minutes in? I'm like,
Yeah, yeah,
oh, we're not doing a trial. You're
right.
just gonna cook him. You're just gonna
Yeah,
make a meal. You're
right.
okay.
That was
We're
pretty.
making man broth.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, been boiled to death on screen before. You know, that's kind
That
of
was harsh, bro.
that's a horrible death. Like he was in there for hours, hours with his skin just melting away, and
That was and it was slow. It took a long time.
yeah. So you're right. Man is the God is trying to escort the barbarian, Mr. John Blackthorne, you know, throughout the lands of Japan. It was like, everybody stay back. He just said it one time. You don't want to listen. I'm chopping off your head. Okay. You guys don't want to talk and, you know, be able to articulate yourself. I'm going to boil you in a pot of water for 8 to 9 hours while I go over here and play in the grass and then go inside, you know, until and get me some mushu or whatever, you know, and that was quite interesting as well. But what I like about this is, and you hit the nail on the head, especially with the pronunciation. I'm used to saying shogun, but it's actually pronounced shogun, supreme military commander equivalent to a duke in medieval Europe and ruler of feudal Japan. And hundreds of years before this takes place in the 17th century, year 1600. And the shogun has been, or multiple, has been ruling Japan over hundreds of years, it seems like. But I think the name is Taiko, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, a Grand Chancellor of the Emperor, equivalent to a Prime Minister in the United Kingdom, especially in the relationship over the Royal Council of Advisors, Privy Council. That person has died, and the heir is not of age yet to rule, only 7 years old, and we have this council of regents. And I really do like that after we get to know John Blackthorne and he's the pilot and this captain blows his head off or shoots himself in some way, shape, or form. He's not there anymore. We only got 11, 12 men left. We get straight into the drama. You know,
into it.
Yeah. We see your boy Toranaga, you know, riding across the countryside with his son, I believe, and they was, you know, looking at I forgot exactly what type of bird that was, but they go into Osaka and the tension is already in the air. Him and his people are like, I hate it here in Osaka. This place is a real
I know.
and you know they go in there and it's already beef. It's already beef. We got the 4 regents that are going against Toranaga, just like, you know, hey, what's going on? You know, ever since the Taiko died a year ago, Europe are trying to form allegiances against the council, man. What's up? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What was you thinking during that scene? Whose side was you on? Do you think the Council of Regents was tripping? Were you on? I mean, we know that Toranaga is the main guy, the main protagonist.
Yes.
But like, did you see the Council of Regents side, or were you already on Toranaga's side? Where was you at in that? And I'll tell you where I was.
I kind of understood in terms of power. You can't look, and I don't say this loosely. I'm just talking about in terms of those who are reaching for power. What a better opportune time to get in what I want to do to seek power than to go, our leader died and the only other person in line is a child. Of course I'm going to manipulate this situation. Of course I'm going to take advantage of this vulnerable situation. And it seemed like Toranaga was, you know, more so friends with Lady Ochiba, who is the widow and the mother of the heir. And like he said, he wasn't, they're like, you kidnapped her. She's at your house. And he's like, my daughter-in-law is giving birth. She just went to help out. Like, and they're like, oh, vulnerable situation. How can I twist this around? How can I manipulate this? And it seems like he's closer to her because they're family by marriage. So in terms of Taiko dying, I believe it was a year before, it seems like he kind of had the favor of he wasn't the king, but the leader, if you will. He had the ear of the king, if you will. And so now that his friend, you know, who he was closer to is gone, these guys who were haters all along are like, and now we're going to push you out. They're just squeezing him out. And so, I mean, I could tell, you know, when Homeboy got up, what's his name? I got to get his name here because what he did was really, really brave.
Yeah.
God, what was his name?
I like the kickback from Ishido talking about, man, we used to these little childish outbursts from people in your clan. You know,
Yes,
that's about
yes, yes. And then one of his
that.
warriors was like, "Don't insult my master, you know, don't insult him."
I,
And what did you think of that? That was heavy when because I was like, wow, the way God, I have to keep looking at the names so I don't want to get them wrong. Toranaga was like, wait a minute, don't insinuate that he insulted me. He did not insult me. And it was like, wow, you are really trying to keep the peace.
right,
You're
right.
really trying to keep the peace because he totally trashed you in front of everybody.
Right. I like the fact that you know, he is that peaceful. That's why I like him. You know, he's not trying to fight. You know, he's been there
He's
before.
reasonable.
Very, very reasonable. But I also like his kickback as well. I was like, look, I am tired of these meetings. These are very, very exhausting. You know, it seemed like they took him a long time to get over there as well. You know, of course, this
Hmm.
hundreds of years ago, you can't pick up a phone call or send an email or whatever. But
Hmm.
I mean, do you think it was justified for Ishido to get the Council of Regents, you know, against him and sign the paper? He was like, hey, we got these 4 signatures here. You know, I mean, there was no questions asked. I mean, this was the first time that they've talked about this because I can see how it will look on the
Hmm.
outside in, just like, okay, hey man, what are you doing? Are you trying to overthrow our little government here before the heir grows up and he can take over? Or, you know, but he had a good reason. Like, no, like lady, like
Yeah.
the daughter is giving birth. I want to make sure that she's okay. Yes, I have
I
been
mean, I don't know for certain that he's holding her hostage. I don't know if he. I mean, we never really got the story of why she went. Maybe she was like, "These guys are too much. I got to get away from them," or maybe she really did go to see the sister. Like for them to be so extreme and be like, "You have 7 days to return her, or it's war."
right,
And it's
right,
like, think about it. If if your family member was over at your friend's house or your daughter-in-law's house just cause, why would there be need for me to promise to return her? It's just a matter of like, hey, can you go back home? They're freaking out. So part of me wonders like what is happening? Like, is he keeping her there for a political reason? Like, hey, raise the baby in my house, then we can be really close. So I don't know, because at the end of the episode, I was like, my dude is either really trying to play the game or like I kind of towards the end of the episode I was like, "Oh, wait a minute. How dirty is he playing?" Because
no.
but that's skipping ahead a little bit. But I just got to say, in terms of learning about the culture, something I didn't know because I knew about, and I don't have the word for it. Someone else, I'm sure, will put the word down there. When a samurai would take his own life,
Seppuku.
because seppuku. Thank you so much, Brandon. Seppuku.
Sepuku. Because I want to talk about that next, but keep going. Go ahead.
Seppuku.
Yeah.
So I knew about that, but I didn't know that you could offer your firstborn,
Yeah.
like, and
And
end your bloodline. That was extreme, man. But
yeah,
that
I don't,
happened,
I don't like it. That's a bit much, you know, and it's
and
his fault too. And I like them. I like that Lady Mariko came through and checked the husband. It's like, okay, why are you giving your wife a hard time? Of course, she doesn't want to sacrifice her baby. This is a little,
stop.
it's not even a year old, and like,
Don't yell at her.
yes, this is your fault because you know you want to be all bold and brag like you're being disrespectful to my master. Shut the hell up and stand in line. Back there, didn't nobody ask you for nothing. You just that
Nobody
is
asked
so
you, and
rude. Like, and
mhm,
we're not even adapt to this culture at all. But even though we know that this is out of pocket, you know what I'm saying? Like over, I mean, I don't mean to sound ignorant, but it just seems like if you sneeze out of place, you know that they'll just execute your whole family. He just going to have a wild, childish outburst in front of the
that
whole
was
council
ridiculous.
pull out his sword and like you like this that like that's just okay. Like they're gonna be like, okay, you can just go home. No, dude, there's gonna be consequences for this. But then you're mad at your wife and screaming at her because she has to. And you didn't even talk to her. Just like, okay, I'm sorry. I'll do some pickle, or you can kill my child. I'll sacrifice my child. That's just insane to me. Um,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is. I was. It made me uncomfortable. It did. It's
It frustrated me. I mean, I thought it was interesting the way Mariko approached him because I through researching, because I think any good historical show should make you want to do research and
Mhm.
go, what's real? How deep are we going? And something that I learned was that in that time, a woman in her position did have power and did have education and learned to fight, because oftentimes I think we all think of memoirs of a geisha, and the reason I really like that this show is going there with the research and the history and not just romanticizing the culture, because you lose the richness of a culture when you romanticize it.
Yes.
Like with Black culture, we're not just playing jazz and barbecuing. There's more to us. Like any culture. Japanese culture. It's not just geishas and pouring you tea.
Right.
The women had a voice during that specific point in time. Now, different points in time, the culture did change in terms of patriarchy. But at this time, she was able to go with authority and tell this man, stop yelling at your wife. It wasn't like, because you've seen movies where a woman comes in and tries to be like, stop, don't yell at her, and the guy slaps her with the back of his hand.
Right. Right.
This was
Right.
not that. That woman was heard when she spoke. And I really liked that that wasn't like a reimagining of history, like some like, oh, you're trying to be feminist, you're trying to show women power. Well, back then women didn't have power. No, actually during that time in that regime, women did have a little bit more power and a lot more education. And
Mhm.
so right off the bat, when that young lady, Anna Sawai, I believe it is, she's got so much presence, and the way she walked in that room, I could tell already this young lady is not about to speak to you softly. She was graceful, but she was about her business. And so I am excited to see what else we get from her in the whole
Yes.
series, because off of jump, she was about her business and she was like taking names. Mariko, I think we're gonna see Mariko's got a lot more to her in
Oh
this
yeah.
series.
Oh yeah, she does.
Mhm.
If you're watching this now, by the time you see this video, I should have my full non-spoilery review up for the whole first 10 episodes. And I did talk about her quite a bit because I would just say that she has a lot of baggage and is burdened by her past. One of the reasons why she just looks so frustrated and sad right here, like I'm tired of all this crap, and like you said, Kimberly, I do like her because she does speak up. She has sense, very sophisticated, cultured, and excuse me, all of that good stuff. But yeah, she is definitely on my radar right here. Anna Sawai. I've never heard of her before. If you are familiar with her work, please let me know in the comment section below, because she can spark a lot of wonderful discussions. Yeah, she's a pretty prominent character. Now, let me ask you this about Mr. John Blackthorne, another character. Well, first, I mean, we can talk about the costumes and how much I like that. When the ship washed up upon the Japanese beach, the shore, I just kind of liked how all the samurai ran out there, with their armor, with their gear, and they rushed the ship, saw inspecting the men, saw that they were dying, or some of them were alive, some of them were half dead, looking at their teeth and rot, seeing that they're starving to death, had a ship of 20 cannons, 500 guns or rifles, and a whole bunch of other stuff as well. And your boy John Blackthorne is just trying to play the innocent little card of, oh, we're not pirates, we're just little merchants. I don't know about you, but he's a bold mother jammer, mother effer. I wouldn't be talking any type of shit if I'm in a foreign land by myself, tied up, especially after I done seen my boy get boiled alive. But he ripping crosses off dude's neck and throwing it on the ground and stomping on it.
Yeah, dude.
I'm like, what are you doing? Like, there's already a language barrier. You talking about I take my genitals and I'm gonna piss on your country and then
Oh, when that guy pissed on his head, I was like, look,
yeah,
Ara
yeah,
Kelly, let's
yeah.
let's chill out on the piss action,
Now
R. Kelly.
before he was just running his mouth. I mean, I don't know. I didn't like him anyway, just from jump, just for some reason. I just felt like I couldn't trust him. But do you think the Japanese was too hard on him initially? I mean, there's a language barrier, so he was just like, "Hey, can I get to my ship and get to my man?" Do you think that was too hard on him at first, or you think all that was justified?
I think I think he is so much smarter than we think he is. Because right off the bat, he's playing games. Because it's one thing to come into a situation
Hmm.
and kind of play it cool and scope everyone out. You walk into a room, if you want to play the game, it's like, well, let me see who the players are first. And then let me start talking my shit. You know what I'm saying? But he came in and was like, I'll piss on you. You can go to hell. And then he just like went in. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you don't even know everybody's name yet, bro. Like, you don't even know who you're like, find a friend first. Like,
Right,
find
right.
someone that can be like, we're tight,
Hey, bro.
right? Like, you can give me some food. Like, you're not even trying to make friends with anybody. And I thought that was crazy and bold. But if you think about it, when we find out the real reason he's there, especially when he's talking to Rodriguez, who I love my dude from Batman, dude. I always what was he? He wasn't the commissioner. Oh, he was the mayor in The
That,
Dark Knight.
that was
I
him.
love that
Okay.
dude. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love,
I,
and he was also Sunny, I think, on All My Children. Or no,
oh,
not Sunny.
good
But
call.
but yeah, no, I really like him. But when he knew what was up right away. That's why I also like that they saved him from the water, because I really want to see what old dude has to say later on,
Yeah.
because right off the bat, he's like, yeah, you're right, because you're a merchant and you're
Right.
lost. Like
Yeah.
he just called him out off the bat.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Knew he was full of crap. Yeah, good call. Good
Yeah.
call.
But Blackthorn, that's a little it's a little crazy to me that he had such an attitude before you get to know the players.
Hmm.
But to me, I'm like, you're establishing authority though. You're establishing, I don't know who you think I'm about to be, but let me make something very clear to you about who I'm not.
Mm.
And that's the one thing I got from him, was I kind of was like, well, all right, okay, let's see what we get from you. But I mean, look where it got him. You got pissed down.
Yeah, yeah. He did. He did. And your boy Rodrigo. Is that how you pronounce it?
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez. I'm tripping. I love the comic relief that he was able to bring as well. I mean, just very, very funny. Just like, hey, bro, um, he's like, hey, where we going? He's like, we're going to Osaka. We're gonna meet the powerful Lord Toranaga. And he's like, oh, he's more powerful than these guys over here. He was like, yes, these guys will be honored to wipe Toranaga's ass or something like that. And so I got a good laugh out of that. And he's like, what does Toranaga want to meet with me in Osaka for? I don't know, maybe play with your balls. He was just real quick with it. I'm laughing my behind off, and so I'm glad that he lived. I was kind of sad, when he
Glad he
was
lived.
knocked out on the rocks or whatever. But also, he was able to call John Blackthorn's BS, smart enough to cut him loose to say, okay, the dude is a pirate or a pilot. We're about to die on sea, so let me cut him loose, and so he can help save us all. And he did in so many ways. And so one of
Yeah.
the characters, hope he does pop up a lot in the rest of the show. And of course, we're just gonna have to see. But yeah, you mean your boy Blackthorn was not smart at first, cussing everybody out. But he did make a
And then gave himself, because I mean, he gave himself up though to Rodriguez, because he was like, well, yeah, and I didn't come this far so I could, and he's like, oh,
oh,
you didn't
you
come
started
this far.
so, yeah.
I thought you were lost. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like,
Right.
I'm looking forward, because you know that he's gonna play the game. You know that as he Blackthorn is really gonna start playing people, and it's like, is Rodriguez gonna help him or get in his way? Are they gonna find some common ground? I think
Right.
the show did a really good job of that, because he's like, he tried to pull up on him and he pulled a gun out. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not stupid.
Yeah, there you go. But that's my fault. That was an accident. But Yeah, you are 100% right. I'm glad you caught that too.
I'm
So
excited to see that.
good stuff. Good stuff. I have a question though, and maybe you can clear this up for me. At one point in the middle of the episode, where so we know that Toranaga and his people they don't like Osaka. They said it was a shit her early in the episode, but he has his
Mhm,
castle over in Edo. And I will
mhm.
say that this show does make me want to travel to just everywhere, Asia,
Right,
Japan, and stuff.
right. Yeah.
But if Ishido is under the impression that Lady Ashiba and her daughter or niece that's pregnant is prisoner being held captive in the castle Edo with Toranaga. We see that isn't the heir what wait is the oh no, I just answered my own question. What I was gonna ask is was Toranaga, did he have the heir? And I forgot her name. She had the white cloak. She like a nun. I was gonna ask if that was in Edo, but no, that has to be in Osaka. Because I was what
Yeah,
I
it was
was
in
gonna
Osaka.
okay, yeah. What I was gonna I'm tripping. What I was gonna ask is one on the sheet of just ask the heir himself, like, hey man, are y'all good over here? But it wouldn't make any sense for the heir to be in Edo anyway. He will be in Osaka. So excuse me, dumb question. My bad, my bad. We can skip past that or whatever. How did you feel about the lord that was over Ajiro?
Yabushige?
Yes, yes.
That guy was such a bitch.
I-
He's first of all, he is evil, and you can tell right off the bat that not only are have the Portuguese come in to try, the Portuguese came in to bring Catholicism over there, and I caught that because when one of the village people, the people in the village, they heard somebody was in town, and they're like, oh my god, and they crossed themselves, and I was like, back then, why would a Japanese man be crossing himself unless somebody had to have brought Catholicism over there because that's not an origin. Catholicism, spread, and we know that through history. But this was right after Catholicism had spread to Japan, and
Mhm.
so it looks like not only are there people from other countries coming over, and we got this with Blackthorn, but also with Yabushige, you can tell he took over this town, this village,
Yeah.
because when they're walking and they cut the guy's head off, these people are complaining and these people are in distress. Like, and I forgot what somebody said, but it was basically like this guy came in here and just took over,
Yeah.
and he's killing like that, like the girl, his concubine. I don't know exactly. Obviously he took her as his, human trafficking. Basically, he took
Okay.
her. You can tell she's from that village, and she's like, I just can't wait till he's gone. Because it sounds like he travels back and forth, and she's like, God, I just can't wait till he leaves again. This is horrible. And she's unfortunately had to do what she had to do to keep him happy, which was sad.
Yeah.
But that guy, Yabushige, is such a biatch because when he goes, first of all, the way he lied, way he got caught in the lie about the ship was hilarious.
Yeah. I
And
was
he's like,
about that.
yeah, no, it was a gift. It was a gift. It was a
Yeah.
gift.
Right.
No,
Right.
I'm not, it's my look, it's mine, but it's like it's not my it's like mine to give away like as a gift. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh my God, you dug such a deep hole.
Yeah.
Because I thought he was someone of prominence the way he was knocking heads off, but then you realize he's just a little snail. Like he's
Yeah.
such a snake. But when he goes over to save Rodriguez, and then within minutes, he's like, these waves are too much. You know what? You know what? I'm just gonna kill myself. I'm just gonna kill myself. These waves are like a lot. And you're like, you're not
Bro.
even gonna try.
Right. 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 What was also interesting to me in that scene too is Blackthorn, his lack of empathy as well, during that scene. I mean, he was just kind of looking down in pleasure, like, oh, what you gonna kill yourself? He wasn't nervous or panicking. I mean, I know these are not his people, there's not his culture, he cannot give a damn, but it's just still though, like just the lack of care on his face or concern was just really interesting to me.
Did
Uh,
you? I have a question for you though,
what's up?
because I was very see black. This is by the way, the writing is excellent because I love it when you are troubled about whether someone's good or bad. I love it when someone's written in the gray and you can't tell. Like it's easy to be like, well, okay, that's the bad guy, that's the Disney villain. But Blackthorn, I was like, at first I was like, he's a weasel, he's a snake. But then I was like, he's taking command of the ship, you know, as people are going over. But then he's like, hey, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, time out. I don't know where you're from, but where I'm from, we don't leave a man behind. And I was like, does he care? Or is he
Mhm.
like, or is he like, that guy spoke English. I need to pretend like I really care because the guy that spoke English is overboard. No one else speaks English and people want to piss on me and cut my head off. So I gotta help the guy that speaks English. Like, was there any honor among thieves, if you will, or was he just like, this guy's playing chess? This guy's playing chess. Let me act like I really care. Because at first I was like, oh, he's got like a pirate's code about him. He's got like this honor amongst thieves kind of thing about him. Like, what did you read that
I read that as the latter. He is playing 3D quadruple chess. There's not a
as? 3D
hair of
chess.
code in him at all. He is just trying to survive. And like you said,
He's playing multiverse chess.
he's like, this is the only person that can understand me. You know, we're joking, we're laughing, playing, talking about ball jokes and stuff like that. No, like you said, he's playing chess. He's playing all the games as best as he can. Like I'm trying to get out
Okay.
of here. I'm trying to get back to my ship. I'm
Okay.
trying to get back to my land and get,
Yeah.
back to the West where I know. And so this is the best opportunity that I have. So let me knock out two birds with one stone as far as saving somebody that understands me, but also make it seem like I'm honorable and like we got to save the day. We don't leave a man behind.
Yeah.
So,
Because
um,
I could tell he faked when, because obviously I saw that disingenuous attitude when oh boy was like drowning, but also, and then when his rope broke, he was like, "Mwahaha,"
yeah,
you know. But then when the guy came up and he was like, "Oh yeah, you made it, yay!" and then he bowed towards him, that I was like, "Oh, you're playing the game.
yeah,
You are
yeah.
playing the game. Like you're gonna bow to him now, like." You're so heroic. I can't. I just can't. I
Right,
can't. Like,
right,
bruh.
right. 100%, 100%.
3D chess.
Um, yeah, no, definitely. So yeah, you're not really feeling what gosh, I can't get his name, the Yabushige. But who I did like is Taranaga's homeboy, his right side man, Hiro
Hiromatsue.
Matsu.
How do you say it?
Hiro
Hiro
Matsu. Hiro
Matsu.
or Hiro Matsu Koshi.
Hiromatsu.
I did
Okay.
like him. He
I
seems like
like
he
him.
plays no games, the old uncle, you know what I'm saying? Toranaga's right hand man. It's like, oh, I thought you was loyal to Toranaga. And he put his hand on his sword. Just the fact that like everybody is just down for the cause and ready to
I
give
know.
lives,
I
like
love
at the
that.
drop of a dime. Like as soon as he put his hand on his sword, everybody else is like ready to like, oh, let's go, And so, and it was like no, like he knew it. What help me out? What is it? Yabushige.
Yabushige.
He knew he was bullshitting. Like you said it earlier. That he you know. So he's another one of my favorite
I
characters.
like him because he seemed like very like humble when he was with Tokunaga, but then
Mhm.
when he stepped on the scene, just like him and his boys, it was like, oh, I love to see that play out in story of like respect when actors play high and low, like how someone walks in the room and how someone bows to someone, how someone's BSing.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, you're the general. Like, look how people were afraid of him. People revered him. They were like, they had so much respect for him.
yeah,
And
yeah. For
what I
elders.
love about the writing and even the acting, and I got to make a point of how important extras are in films
Okay. Okay.
because the extras did such a good job of playing to authority. The way people, because it's an obvious way, like when the princess walks in the room, everyone, oh, but when we don't really know who the characters are, and the way the extras like behave, the people in the background behave when he was around, it helped tell the story to me of an outsider of like understanding his authority and the reverence people have for him, because I was like, oh, this is his right hand man going like, okay, he's gonna try to get a message across. And it was like, no, he got out of that boat and people were like, oh, 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 okay. I really think they're doing a great job with that.
I agree 100%. 100%. And so he's gonna be top dog in this show right here. And I can't wait to see more and for everybody else to see it as well. And so but it just another thing just about this culture, man, Yabushige, even though you don't really care for him, the fact that he was just about to end his life down there, turn on the sword, was crazy. And what I do like is I don't, John Blackthorne, he's not coming across. I don't think there's going to be any like, he's going to be like a white savior type of character that would really grind my gears. I did like the Last Samurai film, but I don't think this is going to be a version of that where Blackthorne is coming through, learning the culture, and is better at being a samurai than all the natives. That would turn me off. But I do like the fact that he's getting exposed to this, because he didn't care that Yabushige was about to die, but he was just so torn up. Like, wait a minute, this man was about to kill himself, just turn on this sword and just give up. Like, what the hell is going on here? Like, I've never seen anything like this before, and
it was a culture shock for him.
Yeah. So I am. Go ahead.
No. I was gonna say, in terms of the white savior thing, for me, because I knew people were gonna talk about this. Because so Shogun's based off of the book, Shogun, and it's based off of a real story of like the only white samurai, I think, in history, which was a man in the early 1600s named William Adams, and that did happen.
Really?
Where, yes, it did. It's based off of a real story. There's like one, I don't know if there's more, but I know he's the most famous white samurai. And he was given land, he was given an inheritance, he married a Japanese woman, he had kids. He actually had a family back in England, but his ship really did get lost in Magellan Strait. And this story is based off of history. Obviously, a lot of the intricacies of the story are made for TV movie, but the book, Shogun, is based off of the historical story of this situation and how there wasn't a shogun for like 30 years or something. They didn't have a shogun. They changed leadership in Japan at that time. And so for the people to be like, oh, the heir is young, this is my opportunity to bring back the shogun. That's the thing. They were bringing back a form of leadership that was gone. So instead of having this what do you call it? I lost the word. Where you have a king. What is it when there's an heir? Why am I losing the word? They do it in England. God, you know what I'm talking about. When you have the father, the son.
I'm trying to think, but it's not coming to me.
It's not patriot. It ends with the archy. I can't believe I lost the word.
But it'll come to you. But
it'll come to me when I. But that's what's happening in this situation. So when people look, this is my thing about the whole white savior thing. For me, if it's history, it's history. If somebody tries to write themselves as, I mean, I know there's these great native people, but wouldn't it be so much better if I like came in and just saved them? Like, that gets on my nerves if you're writing it like that. But what people have to understand, if a white guy came and earned the respect enough to be a samurai, that says something just about his story. So that's not about being a white savior. That's just what happened. And I actually find it interesting and beautiful when different cultures integrate into other different cultures and earn their respect. I think sometimes we're quick to say, oh, it's a white savior. And it's like, no, this white guy actually made his way in. I mean, as there's some cool things in culture where one black guy, went somewhere and made it into this culture that was totally not his. I think there's something cool about integration.
I agree with you 1,000,000%. And
As
if it
long as it's not purposely written
right,
to come in and you know, steal and rape from the culture. I mean,
if it really went down that way, I'm cool with it. And of course, you know,
good.
this was written the novel came out in what 75 by James
75.
Clavell. And I don't know, I'm reading this right now as well. Also, did you watch the original show that came out in the 80s?
You know, it's I remember that guy. Like I never watched it. I just remember as a kid it being in the background because I totally remember that guy's beard. The because I think I called him Jesus whenever I saw that on, and my parents were like, "They're in Japan, honey." Like it was Jesus because of his beard and the whole thing. But I remember it being on in the background in my house. But I know I never watched it. I know it was a mini series. You know, I never actually have watched the series. No.
Gosh, me neither. Me neither. I know a lot of people talked about it in anticipation for this new one. But going back to the white savior thing, I agree with you 100%. If it really went down that way, it went down that way. But when the first time I saw this first episode, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest. I was just saying to myself, okay, I hope that this is accurate. I hope that this guy does not come in and he's better than all of the natives if that's not really happen, if that's not true, because sometimes I do get upset about that, you know, just but if that's not the case, then that's not the case, you know, and you made
But
a
but
valid
here's the yeah, but like yeah, and I mean I feel you. I've seen those movies where I'm like that no 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 we're not going to do this. You know, but also I'm open to history, but also like another thing is you have to understand there's two ways you can look at it. You can look at it and be like, "Oh, so he's just going to bring the whole nation together." Hmm? He's just going to oh, this guy's finally going to get power because of him. You have to understand he was a bit of a pawn because at the end when Tornaga is talking to Mariko and he gets all excited about the fact that like hey you speak Portuguese and his spy old dude that was sending the was it a hawk I
yeah,
think when he was sending messages because remember Yabushige was like there's a spy in my camp how did he know that I was
right,
going to go there. Why is he here now?
right,
Who's the spy?
right,
So, when he gets all excited and he's talking to Mariko and he's like, I can give you purpose again. I know you were depressed when your father died and I know you felt like you had no purpose, but I can help you. This foreigner guy, you speak Portuguese. You know different languages. How about you translate? And she, remember, because she was even like, you don't need me to translate. You have, and she named someone else. She's like, why can't you bring in some so and so? And he's like, no, 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 I want you. And at the end, it left us with, and I mean, tell me if you caught this. He was really excited about this foreigner. He was really excited about Blackthorn. Why? Because bringing in this outsider who doesn't like the Portuguese. He hates the Portuguese. He ripped that guy's cross off. The history there is that the Protestants and the Catholics, because remember, it wasn't just religion. It wasn't just, hey, I just want to share my Bible study with you guys, and maybe we can put on some worship songs. No, no, no. Religion was totally tied to government, to the Catholic Church, the Roman Catholic Church. So for Catholics to come in during that time, it meant we're not just giving you Bibles. We want to change your laws. We want to change your rules. We want to change the way you dress. We want to strip you of your culture. We want to strip you of your language. And so they don't really, some of them don't like the Portuguese because remember, oh boy was like, look, this is between you and your Christians and your, I don't care. I don't
Yabashige.
care. He
Yabashige.
wasn't,
Yeah,
yeah, Yabashige, he wasn't born again Christian, you know, like he wasn't influenced by the Portuguese, but the Portuguese had a lot of power. Like, why do you have a Portuguese priest that is your translator? Obviously, they have worked their way into your government, into your villages, into your people. They're working their way with power, and the reason they rushed to that ship was like, oh shoot, these Portuguese people came here. Remember, before it was just Japanese people. So when the Portuguese people came, they're like, what's this like blonde hair? Like, what's this blue eye? Like, that's why they were looking at Blackthorn like, because you have to remember there's only been their own kind up into this point. So for the Portuguese to come in, there's a lot of people going, I don't like that you're here. I don't like you're making me learn a different language. I worship my own gods. I don't need yours. So every ship that comes in, they're hoping it's not more Portuguese. So now when he hears there's a guy that hates the Portuguese, let's talk about who's playing chess. So this guy, it's not so much that he's going to open the government. It's that you're an excellent pawn. You're an outsider that hates the same people I do. Let's play ball.
And let me add on to that. And not to sound obnoxious, but at this point, I've seen the first 9 episodes. I love the way that they use John Blackthorne in this show, because in this first episode that we're seeing right now, it seems like he is going to be the main or one of the main prominent characters throughout the show. And that's not necessarily the case. Some episodes he is, some episodes they just put him aside, and he is used as an important piece on the chessboard, like you said. And I'm not spoiling anything. He is not a white savior in this whole show. I don't think they're going to just throw that in at the end of the episode. You know, he doesn't come through sleeping with all the women and everybody is worshiping him like, oh, this white man, I want a taste of that. It's nothing like that at all. The entire show is a culture shock for him. We are learning the culture through his eyes. There is a lot of conflict on just like how we see life, death, religion, politics, all of that. And sometimes he is the main forefront, but sometimes he's not. At that time, we haven't seen John Blackthorne in a while. So going back to what I was saying about the white savior, and I am ignorant about the origin of this story, because you said that it was some truth to it. Going in, these were my thoughts. I was just saying to myself, I don't want a white savior type thing, you know, if it's not true, but I'm just proud to say that it's not. And that's one of the things that makes this show so great. And I can't wait for everybody to witness that, because I mean, Toranaga, there's one episode in particular where he's not in the entire episode at all. And that's to the benefit of the show. They really know how to put people in and take them out at the necessary times to strengthen this whole entire story. And yeah, this is one of the best things that we've seen in streaming in quite some time.
And I gotta say, I gotta give a shout out to the writing, because it's tough when you have a show where there's so many storylines. Because I think with streaming, we've seen that a lot lately, where people are trying to be all cute and clever and be like, I got 16 storylines for you. And it's like, I don't know who anybody is. I'm not going to watch this anymore. And so I really like that there actually are, it's like a tree. I can see the vines branching off. And I'm like, up front, the writing is really good, because I didn't get confused with, now who the hell is this? Like, I wasn't like that. I was like, okay, I'm picking up what you're putting down. Okay, so that guy, okay. Like, it's easy to follow, but it's also intricate. And that's just a nod to excellent writing.
Right on. And just like we're coming up towards the end here, when Rodriguez, not Rodrigo, I'm gonna say Rodrigo. I keep messing up the name. Rodriguez, is that it? The Spaniard? What's the pronunciation?
Yeah.
Where is it at? Yeah, Rodriguez.
Yeah.
When he finds John Blackthorne's journal in his book and calls him out, exposes him like, you know, hey, I found this, and that means that this is yours right here. So basically everything you said was a lie. He's about to hit him over the head with the cup, and then pulls out the pistol. And he's like, you know, I have worked too hard to die from all these savages. And he's like, dude, what is this high horse you think you're on, this mindset? You think that where you're coming from, that's just the height, the pinnacle of civilization? Wait till you see Osaka. And then there's that
last shot.
That last shot was beautiful, just showing how the castle and just how in-depth and intricate and the designs and the culture and all that is. I love that. But the line where it's the narration of talking about every man has 3 hearts, or even before that, what type of man, what type of leader do you want to be? Somebody that's super duper loud and expose themselves to everyone, or somebody like Toranaga that's, you know, quiet and kept, cool, calm, and collected, and you just don't know how powerful they really are. Then he talks about the three hearts, like one is in or one is in your chest, or no, one is in your mouth. That's the
Your
one that
mouth.
everybody knows. One is in your chest. That's the one that your friends know, and then another one somewhere else. I can't remember
I
what
think
part of
it's
the
deep
body.
down within you, and you hide it.
You're right, and that's the one you
Yes.
hide right there.
Mhm.
I love that, and it was just so humbling that John Blackthorne at the end of episode 1, going into 2, he's gonna just realize I don't know a goddamn thing. I thought that we were the top dogs over here, and I'm about to be exposed to all of this culture, all of this history, and learn something. And I'm just super excited. When the first time I saw this first episode, I was smiling like, yes, this is starting out so damn good. And I think you feel the same just by the smile that you have on your face. And so I mean, I really did like it, Kim. Those are like my final thoughts. What say you, man? Ma'am, excuse me.
Yeah. Hey, bro. No, no, I agree with you. I think right off the bat, I was watching some behind the scenes, and one thing I really truly appreciate is I love it when an actor that has paid their dues, that deserves their flowers. One way to really get your flowers in Hollywood is to finally have the chair of executive producing. And we've enjoyed the talents of Hiroyuki Sanada for years and years. And I'm so proud of him, and I'm so happy for him that he's in the producer's seat. And again, I think what our whole world needs right now is to look at other people's cultures and religions, and instead of judging, go, hey, let me taste your food. Hey, man, can you tell me some stories about your history? I think that's so important for us to get all up in other people's cultural business. Let's learn. And I'm so happy for my Japanese brothers and sisters, that this is your time. This is your turn. And I think I just applaud their culture, because something that Hiroyuki Sanada did is they had a whole team of historical advisors coaching the cast to make sure that it wasn't just the costume department that was like, okay, that's an accurate kimono. No, they did lessons in calligraphy. They did lessons in how to walk, the difference between how a man and a woman would walk, how a woman that was a servant, a woman with authority, would walk. They had all of these historical advisors on set, making sure the way you sip your tea, the way you pour the tea, the way you open a certain type of door, the way you sit down. He said we actually did a lot of just practicing with the proper way to sit. And if you think about that in terms of acting, how it's not just the words that come out of your mouth, it is the presence when your type of character walks into the room, the way you speak to someone, your eye contact with a leader. They were so accurate in terms of authenticity of Japanese culture. And I'm just so happy for my Japanese brothers and sisters that they are getting this opportunity to have their story, their history told in such a creative way. And because this is based on not word for word, not story for story, but it is based on some political things that happened in the early 1600s with Japanese culture. Some of these battles, some of the names you'll hear are actual historical battles that took place. Some of the politics you'll see, I know it right now, it looks like soap opera-y. That's actually how it was, you know? And so I really enjoy the history and the authenticity. And I love that this is their own people telling their own stories. And I think in terms of Hollywood, that's important to have the people whose story it is be the ones telling it. And that's why I have such an appreciation for this show, is because I think I've been on set. It's tough when your character's the black one or the Japanese one. Casting directors will say things to you like, could you be a little bit more black? Could you make it a little bit more like Japanese? Hello, it's really good instead to have people that look like you, speak your language. That when you walk, they said they had Japanese chefs on set that were cooking for the cast to cook them authentic Japanese meals so that they could just stay in the spirit of everything. And I just applaud Mr. Sanada and the whole cast, and I'm so excited to see first episode, 2 thumbs up. They deserve it. I can't wait to see episode 2. I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to try to keep in step with the reviews, so my energy's like new and fresh. So I'm about to watch episode 2 right now.
Already. I love it. I love it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is going to wrap it up for our Shogun episode 1 recap titled Anjin. And guys, we at the time by the time you see this, our episode 2 recap will be up titled Servant of Two Masters. And just real quick, I forgot to mention, Toranaga was asking Mariko, like, hey, is your Christian faith going to get in the way of serving me? And she was like, hey, if I were just a Christian, yes, but no, I have two hearts. And so they're really getting in depth with this, and with the philosophy and the beliefs and the religion. And I can't wait to watch it again myself. But Miss Kimberly, I want to thank you so much for tuning in with me and joining me with this recap. And I can't wait for you to recap the remainder of the episodes. But before we head out of here, is there something that you want to talk about that, where people can follow you or anything you got going on your platforms?
Yes, so you guys can subscribe on my YouTube channel, What's Good Kimberly. You can find me on Instagram at Was Good Kimberly, and I have a podcast coming, but I need your help. I can't do it alone. I have a podcast coming called The Film That Made You ... And I'm looking for people who have been inspired by a film to make a drastic life change. You saw Forrest Gump and you decided, I think I'm going to take some time off of work and cross country run across the US. You saw Eat, Pray, Love and you decided to book a trip. You saw Rocky and you decided to take up boxing. A movie, a film that made you change your life. You started a business. You got the courage to get a divorce. You got the courage to ask out that girl on a date because of a movie you saw and a character that inspired you. I really want to dive into how movies and storytelling affects our true lives. So the film that made you ... is coming, but I need your help. If you know someone, please reach out to me, and I look forward to bringing you guys that podcast.
Right on. And her information will be in the description box of this video as well. And yeah, if this should subscribe to her channel, guys. Whether you're watching this on my channel or hers, it'll be uploaded on both. And check me out over here. I do lives over here as well. I do tons of videos. I got movie reviews. I got
Let's get you to 50,000, Brandon.
Yes. I'm at 46. At the time of this recording, I'm at 49.6. So a little less than 400 to go. If you do subscribe, you'll get movie reviews, spoiler movie reviews, series reviews. Just did Halo Season 2, The Last Airbender. I got a weekly comic book superhero show live, a movie news roundup show live, and I'm always recapping something on streaming. So, guys, again, we want to thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you come back for our episode 2 recap. And before you go, don't forget that I'm B. Avery. That's Kimberly. That's just our opinion. Peace out, and we'll see you next time.